What up, y'all? DCFAYGOGUY. The end of the year is upon us, and it is time to take a look at our album pickups for 2022. If you have never seen any of these videos, the reason I do these videos is because I've over the years had many people ask to see my collection. I've remade 3 or 4 different videos showing my entire collection. So in 2018, I decided to do one that showed my entire collection, and then every year since then, I've done like a pickups video that shows what I've added to the collection. It's my way of basically just kind of showing my collection without reshooting a video, because making collection videos, they suck. If you've ever made one, you know they fucking suck. It's rough. So let's jump right into it. As you can see, we have a massive ass stack of CDs right here behind me. I honestly think this might be the tallest stack that I've had yet. Granted, I have no way of going back and really kind of confirming that, but I feel like this is the most CDs that I've ever picked up. And I can tell you right now, this is going to be the biggest going forward, because my plan is to slow way down on buying physical CDs. My plan is to start digesting a lot more digital media. I'm kind of entering a phase where I'm downsizing just a little bit, so my goal is to not buy as many physical CDs, as hard as that's going to be. So yeah, we'll jump right into it. I do have them, to the best of my knowledge, organized by when I picked them up. I kind of was teased just a little bit. I don't remember if it was in my Discord server or if it was in the ICP with We Discord server. Regardless, if you would like to join my Discord server, link is in the description. You'll see the link tree. Click on the link tree link. It'll show you all the different social media platforms that I have. There should be one in there for the Discord. If you would like to join the Discord, we have great conversations in there. And most of the time, I'm not even involved. So there's a great community going on in there. And if you want to be a part of it, that is how you do so. But yeah, it was Twisted History. Robbie was kind of teasing me. And I believe the homie Wasteland Waldo, aka Gage, they were kind of teasing at the fact that I even was brave enough to make the stack this tall. I'm nervous right now because I do know it's leaning in parts. So let's jump into this in a hurry, and I'm going to split them down into 2 smaller stacks. That's originally how I had them. They were sitting here. As you can see, there's a few other CDs here, but let's jump into it. So starting off towards the beginning of the year, Class was promoting his brand new album, This Is Revenge. Of course, I was really kind of unfamiliar with Class. I knew of him from the Underground Avengers. Because of the buck snap occurring not too long before this, I decided I would give Class an honest shot. And before this album came out, I did check out his album, F Me, F You. That album always fucked me up every time I try to say it. So I did pick this album up after listening to it. I was like, yeah, I can fuck with Class. Ended up picking up This Is Revenge. There is a review for This Is Revenge already out. So that was how we started off the year. And then jumping right into it, of course, we have Get Well Soon. If you guys do not follow me on Instagram, you missed the point of you missed a post that I had put about this digipack being cracked. There goes the book. This CD case, let me show you here, is cracked. And I've made videos in the past about how I hate digipacks for this reason, because I am stuck with a cracked case now. Because of that, this CD actually lived in my car for a while. So when we do our video for the top albums of 2022, I don't know which one I'm going to put out first. I plan on shooting that right after I shoot this video. So the plan is, so basically this album could have been number 1, but I really don't have any way of tracking how many times I actually listen to this, because I listen to the disc quite a bit in my car. But I'm purely basing my top albums off of what iTunes or Apple Music tracked, how many times I listened to the album. So this album, the fate of the digipack case, kind of ruined this at possibly being number 1. I have no idea if it's number 1. It could have been. I really don't know if I listen to all these other albums more. I'm going to lower myself just a little bit here. Then, of course, checking out Beneath the Dirt, checking this album out off of a Beneath the Dirt recommendation. I got hip to Gruesome. Gruesome is the shit. This album right here, Evil, came out around Valentine's Day. It is a great album. It is available right now. It's on Apple Music. Pretty sure it's on Spotify. And I do believe that there is a way to listen to this for free. If I remember to, I will put it in the description. Or if for any reason Gruesome is watching, I'm sure he will provide a link on where you can go check this album out and potentially purchase it. Which, of course, you know, you should support your artists. Like I know I said I'm downsizing. I'm buying physical CDs. The plan is still to support digitally as well. So I do want to throw that out there. I know I preach supporting your artists. Of course, Wicked Vic, The Weed, came out. Picked that bad boy up. And I'm probably one of the few out there who really fucks with Gibby Stipes. I don't want to say few. That sounds disrespectful to Gibby Stipes. But as far as people that I've talked to about Gibby Stipes, I'm one of the few that actually really like Gibby Stipes. So I did pick up the Still Ill album. This album right here. One of the songs ended up in my top 100. It was that fucking good. I feel like I'm far away, so I might try to scoot a little bit forward and very carefully scoot this stack forward too. Okay, I'm gonna keep those on the bottom. The ones on the bottom slid out. They're little cardboard sleeves. Of course, highly anticipated, finally made his return. Brought out Metamorphosis. Picked that bad boy up. Through the homie Joker's Gallery, I was able to get hip to the super famous Funtime guys. And these CDs right here actually are from him. I bought these from him because at the time they weren't on their website. I mean, you could get this one here. He said he mainly bought the albums just to support these guys, but he doesn't really buy physical media. Kind of something I'm getting ready to start going through. He bought them just to support them. So he ended up selling them to me for face value, which was really fucking dope. So we do have super famous Funtime guys now in the collection. They just dropped a brand new EP. As of right now, it's only available digitally. So I've listened to it like twice. So I listen to most of my music while I'm at work, and I've been off for the last week. If you guys haven't watched the video, haven't heard me really talk about it, C-Mob, he is a local artist to my area, Northern Indiana. He's from Marion. I'm from not too far from there without saying where I'm from. So, local artist, C-Mob, Lazarus Pit, dope fucking album. This one I made no post about. I planned on doing a review for it, never ended up doing it at all. But Stevie Stone, Raising the Bar, this album was really fucking great. It kind of, I feel like, got lost in the sauce. Just because around the time that this album came out, like I said, I planned on doing a review for this, but never did. Because, you know, I was listening to super famous Funtime guys. Buckshot came out with a new one. You're about to see as we progress. But this album right here, I didn't really get to talk about a whole lot. Just because, again, it got lost in the sauce of what I was listening to at the time. So let's just keep moving forward. Buckshot dropped Never Safe. I did drop a review for this guy. Like I said, I plan on doing it for Raising the Bar. But, you know, Stevie Stone kind of fell to the back burner. I don't have any Stevie Stone reviews or anything like that. And I've kind of slowed down on Strange Music reviews. Because most of my audience really doesn't care about Strange Music anymore. So I kind of don't prioritize those artists anymore, or former artists, as far as reviews go. Fallen Angelic, Ouija Mac, of course. Made a video about it in 2021, how I was finally supporting Ouija Mac. I checked this album out. I liked what I heard, so I scooped it up. And I do believe I dropped a review for that as well. Whitney Payton, The Audacity. Kind of a similar thing. This year was all about checking out more underground artists. I've heard of Whitney Payton for years. Only song I had ever heard from her was the one that she had on the DJ Clay mixtape, A World Upside Down, called Ferris Wheel? I think it was Ferris Wheel. That song was okay, but I wasn't really won over, so I just kind of on a whim, as she was promoting this album, decided to go check it out, and absolutely fell in love. And I intended to buy more of her albums, but again, my mindset through the year was kind of like slowing down on pretty much my mindset is I'm not going to buy every single artist I listen to. I'm not going to buy physical albums. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. My collection's going to kind of change. And then, of course, this is what I mean by Stevie Stone getting lost in the sauce. Finally, after years of Zooligans telling me that I need to get hip to a la Zuul Elu, it finally happened. The click finally happened, and I started bumping the Zuul boys. So of course, had to go pick up all of their albums. Thankfully, I was able to do so because I know there are some albums of theirs that is hard to find. This one right here, shout out to Siznak from UFCD, aka the Bender Boys, aka Studio 17. I don't know what's really going on with those guys anymore. They just kind of vanished. Brooklyn Menace is out playing arcades now, so. But I did. He either reached out to me or I reached out to him about this, and he sold it to me. So that was dope. Got the Head of Horns. This album right here really helped me get into him though too, because I just started at the beginning, and it was that first song on Head of Horns that kind of hooked me, and then from there, everything else sort of fell into place. I always try to listen to The Almighty, and I struggled with that album. I don't think it. I wasn't vibing with it right away. It took a lot of their other music before I could start vibing with The Almighty, and now The Almighty is a classic. And again, when we do our top albums, you'll actually see that The Almighty is my most listened to album of the year. But it came out in 2018, so it's not album of the year. But I do want to kind of shout that out. I listened to a lot of The Almighty. Of course, I had to do some more catching up on the homie Low Key. So we ended up with Jack Yell Beats Volume 1, Jack Yell Beats Volume 2. And these are not, I know why they're not in order. I put them in order from when they came out. So I'm going to kind of flip these over so when I go to put them back on my CD tower, it's easier. Chameleatic, which I never realized this until I listened to this album. The song Losing My Mind, I had actually heard years ago. Megs had like a burnt CD that an ex of hers made or a friend of hers made that had like Juggalo shit on it. And Losing My Mind was on there. And I didn't know what it was. I liked the song. I thought it was a great song, but I never knew who it was because it was just a burnt CD. So when I heard this album and heard that song, I tripped out. I was like, yo, I've heard this before. So I actually was bumping Low Key years and years and years ago. I just didn't know what I was listening to. So, American Monster. I want to get more of Low Key's albums, but I don't know, because most of these CDs are just a disc and a little insert. So I kind of want to just get digital copies of his albums. I don't know yet. I'm torn on that one because I really fucking love Low Key and his music, and I want to support him for sure. I'm just torn on if I want to do it digitally or physically. Let's Get Violent. That's a big favorite of a lot of juggalos there. Dedicated, which is a fantastic album. Jack Yell Beats Volume 3. Demon Days right here. This album was a big factor as well of me falling in love with Ala Zuliloo because of Into the Fire. It was originally on this album here. And listening to that, listening to Super Famous Fun Time Guys, and then just finally like, alright, I'm going to go start at the beginning, listen to Head of Horns. Then we got Jack Yell Beats Volume 4. Probably, I don't know if this is my favorite or if number 3 is my favorite. They're pretty close though. The homie Gruesome's Grassroots 6. Had to think for a second. He's released a few of them. Another great album. That, I don't want to spoil nothing, but you'll see in the coming video. The Mr. Gray Operation Delirium. This one here is just the regular album. You're going to see a few kind of duplicates here. Then you have the Berserkers album. And then we had Operation Delirium Red Edition, which essentially was just Operation Delirium and Berserkers combined into one album with some bonus tracks. So I'll pick that up as well. Keeping that love for Gibby Stites. I know he just dropped a brand new one. Don't Touch That Dial. Again, I don't know if I want to pick it up physically, but I have bumped it a few times. But I'm kind of in a mode right now where I'm listening to a lot of shit that came out this year, just kind of reminiscing. So I didn't really fully listen to it a whole lot. Need to give it a few more listens. But I picked up Remote Control earlier this year. Neon Sermon, this bad boy dropped, and I haven't seen as much love as I was really expecting from the homie Roan. I think he had mixed feelings on this, but I fucking love this album right here. This shit is the shit, and it's not just because I get shouted out in it. We'll talk about that more in our top albums, because this is definitely in there. Absolutely loved Neon Sermon. Another Roan recommendation was Slain, One of These Days. One More Day? One Day. Not sure why I thought. Hang on. My computer's turning off on me. I want to make sure I can still see everything. One Day, this album, he gave it a lot of praise. This is an older album, came out a few years ago, but I checked it out and I was like, yo, this album's the shit. Now I remember he was on the Gorilla Voltage album, and I believe it was for Die Hard, and I remember loving his verse a lot. I just never went and checked him out. But on Ron's recommendation, I checked that album out. Of course, then we got the second seed, Pug Ugly, the one that got delayed and then undelayed, a first time ever, I think. Great album as well. Then, completely on a whim, I picked up Wicked Wood's self-titled album. Well, I checked it out, actually, is what I did. I didn't buy it. I checked it out. I seen they had put this album out. I had heard of them before. They were at the Prom Night Massacre. I wasn't really sure about them, so I went in completely open-minded with these guys. This album is actually really fucking good as well. I haven't dropped a review for this. I intended to, had it in my notepad of albums that I needed to drop. This is Hollow Lakes. This is Suicide. This is a concept story album, so it tells a tale of a guy, and it's a really good story. I really need to drop the review for this, but it's a good story album, and there was a twist at the end that blew my mind, so I really should do a review for that. Completely on a whim, never really listened to it, but they had this album up, Knox, which is what Lee Carver was before he was part of the Zuul Boys. He was Knox. So I picked this album up. I haven't even listened to it. And then they came out with the Reanimator remix album. I listened to this. I didn't even make it all the way through one time. I listened like halfway through this album and then I just stopped it. I'm not a big remix fan, so I don't know if I'll give this away or sell this. I bought this completely on a whim, but I bought it with the shirt. I should have wore the shirt. I've actually been wearing it for like my PJs, I guess you could call it, the last night, I think. I try to wear my PJs like 2-3 days before switching out. That probably sounds disgusting, but I picked it up with the shirt that was glow in the dark. It's a fucking sweet ass shirt, but I definitely don't know if I'll keep the CD because I just didn't care for the album. Ritz put out the White Jesus Revival anniversary CD, so I went ahead and scooped it up. I haven't even listened to it either. Boondocks dropped So Much Blood this year. A great fucking album. Very short, but great nonetheless. And of course, we have the reviews, we had the praise. Songs of Sam Hain, number 1, number 2, number 3. Great fucking albums. I'm surprised by how many people don't care for those albums. I've seen a lot of people say they weren't really caring for them, and I'm like, what? They're great. And of course, we got our Twisted package that we did not too long ago. I did pick up Unlikely Prescription. This album right here took a while, I will admit. I listened to this probably 3 or 4 times, and by the 5th time it finally clicked. It's not my go-to Twisted stuff, but if I'm in the right rock mood, I could definitely put this on. But it took a while. I think because when you think of Twisted, you think of them as rappers. I know they've always had rock elements in their music for many years, but to do a full-fledged rock album, I mean, look at how Mutant was. It was a little bit of a mix. This is full-on rock. And I know a lot of artists kind of experiment with that. Low Key is one. Tech Nine put out a rock album, and both of their rock albums I really like. I don't know what it was about this one, though, that took a little bit to click. I don't know why it took so long to click. But I'm going to listen to their new rock album that they're planning to put out open-mindedly. I just hope that they do it right. And I don't know if they didn't do this one. I don't know what it is. But this took a few listens to finally click for me. Of course, I picked up Electric Lettuce. I think I've listened to this album maybe one time, and I decided I liked it, but I never went back and re-listened to it. Revelation, this is a great album right here. A lot of production from Young Wicked, if not all by Young Wicked. I think all the beats on here are by Young Wicked. But I love this album a lot as well. And the album that made me go, God damn, I'm sleeping on Twisted, Mad Season. This was the first album I listened to when I kind of like let go of my ill feelings towards them. I forgave Monoxide back when he apologized. but I never really went and was checking them out again. And then just one day after listening to Straight Jacket kind of talk about how, you know, there's things going on behind the scenes that really rub him the wrong way. And it just kind of made me think about things from Twisted's point of view and their situation. And I was just like, you know, I'm not even mad at these guys anymore. And then I went and just listened to Mad Season because I've always heard people say this album is fucking great. And they telling the truth because this album is fucking great. That first track was like, as soon as the bass dropped, I was like, fuck, dude, Jesus Christ, this shit's the shit. This is going to be hard as hell to see, but this is Generation Nightmare. This one's a little bit mixed feelings on this because it's kind of like Mutant. It's got rock music sprinkled in there. So there wasn't a whole lot of cohesiveness to that, I feel. I may get comments for this one, but I did re-pick up Continuous Evolution of Life's Question Marks. I actually had this album. And when the whole shit with the March and the tell-all interview with Violent J came out, I sold this CD. I sold a few of my shirts. And I did drop a review for this, and I did not give it a good review at all. I got a lot of shit in the comments about it, and then eventually I sold this CD. And I actually remember somebody saying in, I think, my pickups video for 2018, it might have been 2017 or 2018, whenever it was that I did my first like pickups video or collection video after I sold this, they were like, I actually lost a lot of respect for you for selling the album. But you got to remember, I didn't care for this album. Its first impression was really kind of tainted by everything that was going on at the time. But since then, I've re-listened to it. Again, I was able to purge those negative feelings from my heart and really actually listen to it. Buckshot's The Accomplices 2. This was an album that I wanted to do a review for because this album is fucking great. But at time, man, I just didn't have the time for it. And I ended up prioritizing the Songs of Sam Hain albums over it, as well as with this one as well. And the Loon Squad, I bought this completely fully on Buckshot, on faith of Buckshot, in faith of Buckshot, I should say. I saw them perform in Louisville at the Certified Psychos tour, the second leg, the first night of the second leg, and they killed it on stage. And I've yet to go listen to this album, so I definitely need to jump on that. Of course, we're getting towards the end of the year here. Picked up Twisted's Glyph, aka Gilf. This album's fucking fire. And through a conversation, again, if you don't follow me on Instagram, you don't know about this, but through a conversation with a viewer, he was talking about Glyph, and he was talking about a mystery EP that Twisted came out with last year. He was talking about how some of the symbolism reminds him of Glyph, or Glyph reminds him of this. And listening to this album, he said that it kind of reminds that he feels like the two albums really should be one, and how he went and made them one album. So shout out to James Whitmill, I believe was his name. Through a conversation with him, I went and found this. Like, I wanted to go find out more about this. Found this for fairly cheap on eBay. It was in a package that also came with For the Fam Volume 3, as well as a Christmas vinyl. I guess I should show the vinyl as well. It's part of my collection as well. It came with this as well. I got these three items for like $40, I think it was. So not terrible, considering in order to get this back in 2020, I think you had to spend like $75 for the Black Friday sale, and they gave you this for free. So, I mean, I would have had to spend $75 back then to get this. So that's kind of how I justify it. It's how I justified Yum Yum's Lure's price. So yeah, that is everything. Hope you guys can see it all here on the table behind me. That is our album pickups for 2022. Like I said, I bought a lot of shit. And a lot of great music came out this year, despite what Roan was saying on Beneath the Dirt. He had made a couple posts before he went on his little break, how he was saying there wasn't a lot of great music. I disagree. There was a lot of great music that came out. Granted, not all these CDs that I have here came out this year, but it's been definitely a good year for good music, for new music. I've been satisfied with it. So yeah, there you guys go. That is my pickups for 2022. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.